Today I'm going to show you some new features that we have not discussed as far as the 468 when using DMAGs. There's been a lot of questions as far as how it operates. Is there going to be a DMAG for the 468? And just to clarify, there will be a DMAG for the 468. Something I want to show you, basically with every mag-fed system out there, it's a limitation, I suppose, but it's present in all systems that we've ever done, as well as most systems that we see that are out there. And this phenomenon is basically when you insert a magazine, you basically have to shoot through all the rounds before you can remove the magazine, even to check how many rounds you have left, to see if you have any rounds left in there. Because what would happen is you'll basically lose rounds when you take it out of here. So I'm going to go ahead and show you basically through everything that we have here to show how this happens and also how we've avoided this with the 468. Alright, so first I'll start with the 468. This is the 468 with the Noveski handguard set up with a stainless steel barrel. Again, this is basically what, it's kind of like a pre-production model, but it's very representative of what it will be when it's finally released. These have been sent out to games, to certain people, and basically a lot of the questions that, or requests that were asked, have been solved now. But anyway, showing this, so this is a 468 with a traditional classic T68 magazine. We insert the magazine and we're dropping 2 rounds. We insert it again and we're dropping 2 rounds, basically just over and over. So you can't really check, or every time you do this you're going to be losing rounds. Okay, this is the 468. This also happens with a T68, as well as all of the mag kits that have been out. Tiberius T8 full magazine. Again, same thing. When you load a magazine inside and remove it, we're dropping 2 rounds. Insert it again. Well, we have one in there, but there it goes. Load it again, dropping rounds. So again, basically every mag-fed system has been dropping these rounds that they're taking out of the magazine. So the Tiberius T4, a great gun, shoots first strike. But again, this phenomenon is present with the first strike rounds and paintball. Here I'm using some plastic rounds in the magazine, same as all these tests I've been conducting. But again, we're going to load it in here, take it out, 2 rounds, 2 rounds. So it's basically 1 round that's in the chamber and then one's in the pre-chamber, let's call it. It's like waiting to be chambered. So all these rounds are always coming out with all these traditional magazine-fed systems. Same thing again as many traditional mag-fed systems. My Milsig CQB, put it in, 2 rounds. So again, it's a very similar situation. Again, these magazines are very similar to the T68 or vice versa. So they definitely do the same thing when you load it in. 2 rounds, pretty much every time. Alright, so finally we reached the 468 with the DMAG magwell and DMAG system. Again, what we've seen with every other marker system that at least has been out, or that even we've been working with, or pretty much anything that we've seen, they all drop rounds when you want to do a magazine check. You know, I mean, obviously some can say, well, why would you want to remove a magazine? But in firearms, if you're shooting, you're doing a tactical reload, who knows? Maybe you had a malfunction. Maybe you want to check to see if you have more rounds in your magazine. It's nice to be able to take it out, see that you have rounds, so you can identify what other problem you could be having. So again, 468, 14-round DMAG, fully loaded. Put it in, take it out, no rounds fall out. Flip it around, put it in, no rounds fall out. So again, this is the advantage of the 468, of how it's basically the system. There is a trap system inside the magwell. Obviously, you're not able to shoot the rounds that are, well, you have a chamber indicator here. You're not able to shoot the rounds that are in the pre-chamber, but they're not falling out. So you can be sure that you won't be losing any rounds. Now, if you're looking at something like first strike rounds, well, I think we all know the price of those, so nobody wants to lose any, or have to duck down, pick them up, and clean them up, or whatever. So, yeah, this is one of the main advantages of the 468 system with the DMAGs. So again, not only the low cost, the ability to use shape projectiles for first strikes, and again, you're not losing any rounds when you're doing your shooting. So, alright, so now we'll be shooting the 468 with the DMAGs. You know, just we already went through how we're not losing rounds we're going to get into a little more detail as far as how the trap system operates and basically, yeah, what you have to do to shoot your rounds and everything else. But right now, let's do some shooting. Magazines emptied. Again, so if you do a shot count, you don't have to cock it back, which of course takes a little discipline in knowing how many rounds you have in your system to do that. But it's definitely very handy to know how many rounds you have. You know, again, if you want to do double taps or triple taps and count them, you're able to do that. So remember, with a twin 10 stack round, you can do 3 triple taps and a single, and with a 14 round, you can do 3 double taps and a single. I mean, simple stuff. Alright, so the 468, again, the way that the trap system works, basically there is a space for 2 rounds that, let's call it a buffer zone. So if you want to shoot 20 rounds out of a 20 round magazine, you basically have to have 22 rounds on you, meaning that 2 rounds will be inside the chamber, and then the following rounds will be in the magazine and so forth. So again, I mean, it's a minor drawback as far as we see it, to be able to consistently shoot rounds and not have any loss of projectiles, and also again, just to make it a more realistic system. So I mean, imagine you're doing a military training situation and a bullet comes out. I mean, a bullet comes out of your magazine. I think it'll look pretty awkward, and definitely somebody would think that of not as a real training situation. So that's one of the main reasons we decided to go about it this way. D-mags were really designed for the mag kits, so by implementing it onto the 468 or to a previous system like the T68, we had to devise a way to allow the rounds to reach the chamber and not have to drop them. But that also really gives us a way to be able to use a D-mag system in pretty much any platform that's been made ever. So again, we'll definitely consider any markers that are out there to see if it's worthwhile to make a D-mag system for it, but I certainly think some do warrant making that adapter or so forth to make it possible. Thank you very much.